Hey guys, how's it going? Anthony Hendrickson coming to you here today. Hopefully the lighting's okay. I'm actually at my home here in Fargo, North Dakota, and down in my basement, as you can probably tell here, for this presentation for a couple of reasons, but hopefully the lighting's okay. Just want to walk you through a couple of things as to what you can do as far as, have you ever found yourself trying to open a bottle of wine and you don't have some type of a wine key or opener or whatever you want to call it? So I know it's happened to me numerous times where whether if you're traveling or at a friend's house or something like that, where you have this nice bottle of wine that you want to enjoy, but you don't have a way to open it. So I'm just going to go through a couple of wine hacks, we'll call them, to open your bottle of wine without a corkscrew. So the first way, and I got a couple different ways, we're going to go through 4 different ways actually, but the first way I'm going to show you is pretty simple, and you can use a number of things. You just basically have to make sure that it will fit into the bottle of wine. So any type of, slender item that you can get through the top of the bottle of wine. This is probably my least favorite way to do it, just for a couple of reasons, but we'll do it. So what we actually want to do is just make sure you hold on to the bottle tight, and actually I'm going to be using white wine in my presentations here, so I don't spill all over my floor and have to worry about that. So that'll be for another presentation. So with this, you just want to make sure that you have it, and you're actually just going to push the item all the way through. And this one actually went through pretty easy. So what you're going to see there is then you have your bottle of wine that's actually open. So you can go ahead and pour that out and do whatever you want with it, but just like I said, make sure you have something that's actually going to fit into the bottle of wine. Push it all the way through. And the reason why I said that I don't like it that much, you can see the wine is moving around. Tough to pour. So as you're trying to pour out the wine, sometimes that cork gets in the way. But, desperate times call for desperate measures. So if you push that all the way through, you'll be able to pour it from then. Even if you have to kind of keep this inside to keep the cork down as you're pouring it out. I know I've had to do that as well. So that's kind of the first method, just push it all the way through. Second method, and the next 2 that I have are kind of somewhat similar, so kind of gonna go about it. Well, we'll just do it the one way here. But what I have here is actually a sealing hook, and what this sealing hook is it's threaded, as you can see, a lot like, say, a screw. So I'm just going to present one of these 2 ways, but as you can tell, they're both threaded. There's a common household screw. You can use something like that as well, but since they're so similar in ways, I'm probably just going to stick to this one here. You kind of get the gist of it. And also, if you are using the screw method, which probably is more practical than this sealing hook, because not everyone has these laying around, for the most part it's a little bit easier to find a screw. And as far as easier to find a screw, say if you can't even find one in the junk drawer or wherever you keep your screws or whatever, if you have something hanging on the wall, odds are pretty good that it might be fastened with the screw or a nail. If you were using a nail, the only downfall with that is it doesn't have the thread, so you might just have to use an angle to pop it out. But for this demonstration, since I do have a sealing hook, I'm just going to use that. So with the sealing hook, and it would be somewhat similar as you would with the screw as well. Just make sure you get it in there, thread it. If you do use a screw, just a screwdriver, screw it down in there. With the sealing hook, odds are probably pretty good that I could just pull it out. With the screw, it might not be that easy. A little tougher to grab onto. So if you were using a screw, you might want to use something like pliers. And then also maybe just use your hand as some type of a leverage. That way you're not, cracking the bottle or whatever it may be. Maybe I'll need the pliers for this too. But as you can see, it's coming out a little bit by a little bit. And I guess you can even break the cork off in there. So I don't recommend that by any means. But if that does happen, you can improvise and do it again. Now I try not to go all the way through the cork, kind of a personal preference. Then you could have some cork in it, but for this demonstration, it might be. There we go. Pops out like that. So like I said, maybe I refrain from actually breaking the cork, but hey, sometimes it happens. once again, desperate times call for desperate measures. So that is method number 2. Now method number 3 is probably going to be, I want to say maybe last resort. The only reason why I say this is because it's not that it's dangerous, but you never really know. But one thing that you usually always have with you is a shoe. And then I'm going to take this presentation back in this room. This is why I'm shooting in the basement. Have a nice cement wall back here because you're going to need a sturdy surface. And so if you can find a cement wall, it'd be great. If you had stone, if you had maybe just a nice stud, would probably work. But the harder the surface and the more sturdy, the better it's going to be. So hang with me. As you see, it's not open quite yet. But if you take it on the hard surface and bang against it, is the idea. And as you can see, somewhat of a time-consuming process, but we are making headway. Woo! That one shot out. And that right there. All right, well, got it out anyway, so that's kind of our last resort, or our next method for removing a cork from a bottle of wine. So see, it does work. You just have to make sure that you have a nice hard surface and a bottle of wine and a little bit of will to do it. So yeah, so that's kind of the last sort of hack for at home. And then the last one that I want to show you guys is actually my favorite way to open a bottle of wine. It hasn't always been this way, even go back 10 years ago, and it was somewhat frowned upon. And what I mean by that is actually good old screw top. So no wine key necessary. You just unscrew the actual bottle of wine and toss your cap there too, but you just unscrew it. And like I said, the screw tops, 10 years ago, really were kind of, people were frowned upon, thought it was bad wine. It's not so much the case anymore with the technology, with the screw tops, with the way the winemakers are actually making their wine right now. It's just as good, if not better, maybe even keeps it better than a cork. So you see a lot of companies doing it nowadays. I wouldn't let that shy away from you at all for a bottle of wine. Feel free. Some of my favorite wines come with the screw top from time to time too, especially obviously whites. So yeah, with that being said, coming from the restaurant industry, the other part about not having to use a corkscrew is it's a little bit easier for the servers, more convenient, all kinds of things. So, and then also around the house, if you don't have a wine key, it makes it a lot easier to enjoy that favorite bottle of wine. So after you twist, then all you have to do is just pour and get to the good stuff. So like I said, these are my wine hacks for the day on how to open a bottle of wine without a corkscrew, a couple different household methods. So once again, this is Anthony Hendrickson. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to share it with anyone that you think might get something out of it. You can also subscribe to the page, hit that notification bell, and then down below I'm going to leave some more wine literature and things for you, resources that you can actually check out whenever you get time. And thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you on the next video. Okay, bye-bye.